Hello, my name is Alexio, and today we're going to be talking about Euphoria. So, Euphoria Season 3 has been slated for 2025 release, and to be honest, I don't think we really need another season of Euphoria, and I don't think I'm alone in this opinion. Even though Euphoria Season 2 had great ratings, the general consensus after the season stopped airing was that the show dipped in quality. First off, there were many inconsistencies in Season 2 compared to Season 1. For example, Kat's Cam Girl storyline was barely shown in Season 2, and while in retrospect that was a good thing, it didn't make much sense story-wise, seeing as though Kat's storyline focused around her being insecure and overcompensating by being overtly sexual online and in real life. In Season 2, she's a glorified background character. And while in Season 1 we leave off with her and Ethan seemingly happy together, in Season 2, Kat is now somehow bored with how nice Ethan is, and she breaks up with him by telling him that she has a terminal brain disorder. Some might argue that Kat's actions towards Ethan make sense in terms of her character, but I just found that scene completely puzzling. Also, most of the character endings in Season 2 felt empty and disappointing. Season 1 Jules grapples with being blackmailed by Nate and navigating an unhealthy relationship with Rue. In Season 2, Jules becomes incredibly selfish and neglects her relationship with Rue so that she could fool around with Elliot. Jules absolutely is a selfish character, and like Rue says, she loves to be loved. So her cheating on Rue with Elliot isn't out of the realm of possibility, but it's still a suckish thing for her to do. After she learns that Rue's still doing hard drugs, she tells Rue's mom. Rue goes off on Jules, and by the end of Season 2, Rue and Jules are no longer together, which is probably for the best. Maddie in Season 1 clings to her relationship with Nate even though he's incredibly abusive, but ultimately decides by the end of the Season 1 finale that her and Nate are not healthy. In Season 2, we get to see her be happy for once and take up babysitting. She eventually tries to get back with Nate, but then Rue reveals that Cassie has been seeing Nate behind her back, and Maddie plots her revenge, only for her life to be threatened by Nate when she tries to exact her revenge. Which is horrible enough, but then Nate and Cassie go public with their relationship. But thankfully, Maddie's story ends with her wiping her hands clean of Nate and Cassie altogether. Speaking of Cassie, all the progress we think she's made since Season 1's finale is undone, and she sinks into insanity as she goes behind Maddie's back and starts fooling around with Nate. I'll give Sam Levinson credit because Cassie's storyline did make a little sense. Cassie totally seems like she would be the type of girl to screw your ex-boyfriend. Her relationship with Nate is venomous, and her desperation for his approval is cringeworthy. She burns bridges with all her friends and family just to have Nate, and by the end of the season, he breaks up with her, and Cassie spirals. Maddie warns Cassie that her breakup with Nate is only the beginning. Also, McKay makes one appearance in this season, even though in Season 1, he's a pretty important part of Cassie's story. And he gets his own opening sequence dedicated to him and his football aspirations. Alexi becomes a little bit more prevalent in Season 2 as she gears up to release a play about her life. She starts an unexpected romance with Fez, and we get to see Lexi's directorial debut. However, Lexi's ending is depressing because Fez never makes it to her play, and we don't know if he gets arrested or if he's even alive. Fez gets a little backstory, and we find out that his grandmother practically raised him and Ashtray into the life they have now. Fez and Ash basically become brothers and have to look out for each other when their grandmother falls ill. But Ash puts Fez in an uncomfortable position because at the beginning of the season, he murders Mouse, and now Fez has to answer to Lori, who, in looks, is less threatening than Mouse, but in actions, is more dangerous. Fez gets his revenge on Nate, and him and Lexi begin to talk. But unfortunately, Fez's story ends in turmoil as the Feds find Mouse's body and raid Fez's house. Ashtray tries to fight off the Feds, but Fez gets shot in the crossfire, and Ashtray ends up dead. What happens to Fez is ambiguous, but it's not good either way. Nate continues to wreak havoc like he did in Season 1 without any repercussions, considering he framed Tyler for domestic violence and got away with it. He drives a wedge between Cassie and Maddie and shows no concern in doing so. Nate spends the whole season trying to cover for his dad till he realizes that his father resents him and his family. Nate's dad, Cal, gets a backstory and Sam Levinson tries to humanize him, but it doesn't work. Cal not being brave enough to live in his truth doesn't justify him lying and cheating, or any of the illegal activities he engages in. By the end of season 2, Nate sent his dad to jail. While it might have been great to see Nate rat out his predator of a father, it would have been more satisfying to see Nate get some consequences for his actions. Rue's storyline is probably the best written out of the season and in the show. It's probably because Sam used to be an addict himself, so it's much easier to write Rue's character based off of his experiences. Rue descends deeper and deeper into her addiction, and she goes through dangerous lengths to feed it. She lies, she steals, and she endangers herself in the pursuit of her high, which leads to some scary scenes in episode 5. But by the end of the season, Rue is in recovery and is actually trying to make a change. However, we can't ignore the massive elephant that is the suitcase. It was highly unrealistic that Rue got away scot-free after swindling a bunch of drugs, using most of her supply, and having it be flushed down the toilet. Rue's ending was surprisingly buoyant, and I didn't feel like that there was a setup for a season 3. The season 2 finale was a lackluster and drab mess, and completely ruined the momentum built throughout the season. But that's to be expected when there's only one guy in the writer's room, and there aren't any people to make sure the story is consistent and that important plot points don't get abandoned. The cinematography remains A1, Labyrinth did an amazing job on the score, and the styling was phenomenal as always, but the story lacks so much that just the visuals alone could not make up for the poor writing. Looking back, I'm glad Euphoria was able to impact people and encourage more experimentation within fashion and makeup, but I feel like the show has ran its course. And I don't really see how these characters could progress past their season 2 endings. And let's be real, the only reason we watched this show is because of Zendaya. At the beginning, we watched for her, and we got a beautifully shot show and some amazing performances. Zendaya had to show y'all that she's not just a Disney girl and that she can take on serious roles. Now that we know what Zendaya can do, it's time we let her branch out to other roles and kiss Rue and Euphoria goodbye. Those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you agree that Euphoria should end, or will you be seated for a season 3? Whatever you feel, get in the comments, let me know. Like the video, subscribe if you want to, and thank you for watching. Bye!